Dear brothers, it's about quality, not quantity.
So guys, it should be your conversation, the way you flow, your presence is enough for a woman to want to be around you, not how much money you spend.
Dear sisters, it's about knowing your value.
My sisters out there, don't be afraid to scare a guy off just because you have standards.
Dear brothers, dear sisters, it's time to come together.
Blow. What up, my people? Welcome back to DBDS Live. Listen, where mature conversations do exist. And listen, it's been a minute since our previous show when the DBDS queens scorched the damn earth with their abundance of knowledge. So shout out to Natima, Tanisha, Ivy, Gianni, Mika. Shout out to all my sisters that killed the damn show. But I'm your host, Mel Money, with my co-host, my brother, my DBDS partner, Carl, the coach. What's new, my man?
Man, I'm telling you, I'm just looking forward to this show today. I just tell you, and then on top of that, the year's over. I mean, the year went by so fast, man. I think we always say time is non-refundable, and I just wonder how many people sat back and didn't do what they said they were going to do simply out of fear or simply from the inability of learning how to do that thing. And now they're looking up and saying, man, the year's over.
Yeah.
So now what am I going to do next year?
And like you said, time is non-refundable. So there's no way to return that clock back. No way. You know what I'm saying? So listen, right there, this is the moment. This is the moment for like, hey, what we thinking about, Carl? Right now it's cuffing seasons right now. Right now it's the holiday season.
Right.
2022 is around the corner. And speaking of 2022, it will only get better with more amazing guests like you're going to see today, more amazing conversations. And I know everyone always have these like New Year's resolutions. And some of them, they follow through with those New Year's resolutions. Some people don't follow through with those New Year's resolutions. And I have to ask you, my brother, do you have any New Year's resolution?
Yeah, I have an end of the year resolution. I'm not going to let cuffing season and the holidays cause me to have a dependent next year.
Oh, word. Salute on that, brother. I feel you. Listen, you guys are in for a treat today. We have such an amazing show for you guys today. And one thing that I just want to share my New Year's resolution, what it's going to be, is to continue to spread the institution of marriage and how important it is to our community and to promote healthy monogamous relationships. Also, to my people up there that always show love and support. And if you want to continue to show love and support, please make sure you go to our website, dearbrothersdearsisters.com. Listen, this is the one-stop destination to get your gems, to become a better you, to attract a more suitable partner. We have coaching sessions, courses, anything you can think of in order to enhance who you are, to continue to level up. All right. So that's another thing if you want to continue to show your support to DBDS. Also, my man Carl and myself, we want to come to a town near you. So if you're part of DBDS and if you want to join our private group, we have in our announcement section major towns that we may want to come to. So whether you're in Atlanta, shout out to ATL, by the way, New York, Charlotte, God damn it, Alaska, just go to the DBTS announcement section in the group and pick which city you want us to appear in. Because when we get there, we're going to have guest speakers, we're going to have panelists, we're going to have speed dating, and so much more next year in 2022. What you think about that, my brother?
Absolutely, yeah. Those will be the small stuff. We're gonna have a major meetup, but we're gonna have the smaller events so we can do different things in the different cities. So definitely bring that wealth of knowledge to like I said, continue to promote healthy relationships. It's we're gonna change the narrative completely in 2022. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Shout out to my sister Flo. She just came into the studio. Shout out to Phoenix, my sister Ruth Lilly. Appreciate you. I appreciate you all. My brother Jarvis and Lisa Frost. Appreciate you guys joining in on the check-in. So listen, today's show is going to be a little bit controversial. We may hit a couple of nerves out there today, but only the mature people will understand this topic that we're going to discuss today. So today's show is titled, Is There a Benefit for Men to Marry Today? I mean, Carl, this is something that needs to be discussed. This is like one of those barbershop talks. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
It needs to be talked about, and I think, and it'll be constructive just the way we handle things. But sometimes we all need our toes sometimes stepped on, so we can wake up and maybe see things from a different perspective. But really, the way society is terming it, I don't want to give away some things I want to say, but the way society is terming it, this is a subject that may upset some people. It may be it's going to be a subject I think that's going to open the eyes for some people, and it'll be a subject that may turn some people off completely. And again, but we have to have mature conversations consistently in order to grow. And I think that's the thing a lot of people walk away from. They don't want to have the tough, mature conversations and be open to listen. So that's all I'll tell everybody who's watching. Just be open to listen, and definitely jump in the comment section if you've got a question on something, you need clarity on something that's said. Hit us with that so we can follow up with you guys with that.
Absolutely. Very well said. And listen, again, this is for the mature audience only. So I'm pretty confident because DBDS within itself, the whole entity, there's a lot of mature people that is down with DBDS. So shout out to you all, and we love you guys. Before we bring somebody into the studio, remember I talked about our towns, Charlotte, Miami, and so forth. Let's see what our sister said.
Yeah, Flo said Augusta, Georgia. Well, that'll be Atlanta.
Another one.
No, we're not coming to Jacksonville, North Carolina. We'll be in Charlotte.
Listen, we're gonna just do our damn thing, man. So listen, I'm so excited to bring our guest into the studio. All right. Shout out to Tiana. She just came into the check-in, and my sister Jessica Love. Thank you for coming in. So our first guest coming into the DBDS live studio. Listen, this brother right here, he's an author, and he gives so much back to the community. He's even have ways on helping people how to collect data while you are dating to get to know someone. And I'm very honored to have this brother back on the show. My man Eric, welcome back to DBDS Live. Oh, my brother Eric, he is frozen. It's all good. It's all good. We'll continue to our next guest, and we'll get that straightened. So listen, my brother that's coming into the DBDS Live studio, listen, he was on here before. What I like about him is that he shares a lot of his experience with people, and I always state that experience is the best teacher. Welcome, my brother Floyd, into the DBDS Live studio. Welcome back.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you. Looking forward to the show. It's always a pleasure and honor to be here with you guys. I love what you're doing, Tramel. I love what you guys are doing, Carl. It's an honor and a pleasure to be a part of this. I know it's going to grow even beyond this, so I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Absolutely, my man. So appreciate you coming back on board, and it's an honor to have you on. So just tell the people, we have some new viewers. Tell them a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
My name is Floyd General. I live in California. I've known Carl for a long time, and came across Tramel. I was really looking for a platform that was really focused more on positive relationships when it comes to us, especially Black women, Black men. So many platforms out there is talking about us attacking each other. A lot of the shows that we watch, it's either the woman as professional as she appears on the show, but yet she acts so ignorant, like she doesn't have any type of knowledge, or either the man is putting her down. And, I got tired of watching that. So then I came across this platform where a lot of the sisters on this show are really holding other sisters accountable.
Right.
A lot of the brothers are holding the brothers accountable. And so I know as a man, that's important for me, accountability. So definitely, I'm getting married next year, and I want to sharpen my tools so I could become the best husband. I'm raising a 10-year-old boy, and I need men like Carl and Tramel around me, to keep me on my point.
Man.
So, definitely, I'm on here to listen as well as to learn and to share.
That's amazing, brother. And by the way, congratulations on everything, on your happy, healthy relationship. You are the kind of man that is leading by example, and we need more brothers like you, man. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, brother. And speaking of that, before we bring my next man in the studio, we got a comment from Flo.
Oh, thank you.
So, yes, he said, "Congratulations, brother."
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
that. All right. So, next brother coming into the studio. Listen, I know this man back in the day. He always gave a lot to the community. A man full of wealth, full of knowledge. This is his first time on the DBDS Live program. So, welcome, my brother Baub, to the
Yo, what's
DBDS
up?
Live
What's up?
studio.
What's up? Hey!
What's
My
up, Bob?
chain's been popped, right?
What's up, Bob?
Welcome, my man. Listen, man. So glad to have you on. Just tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
Yeah, I have this haiku: born in America, but my head rests in Haiti and dreams Africa. I born in here in the U.S. Haitian parents. I'm a poet. I run a venue, Free to Spit. It's called Free to Spit, the number 2. Free to Spit every first Friday of the month, except January, my birthday month. And and I've been around the world, actor, poet, writer, MC. I've done a lot. So yeah.
And that's what's great, man. I mean, my man got a large resume, so I'm glad he's pointing out those main bullet points. And make sure you go to Free to Spit, because it's a lot of positive brothers down there. So thank you for coming on to the show today, my man.
Thank you for having me, brother. And congratulations on your show, man. I've known you, like you said, since you were like this
Man.
small.
Appreciate the love, my man.
Yeah.
And next, we're gonna bring him back on board, coming back into the DBDS Live studio. Author, the type of brother that will tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. My man Eric, welcome back to DBDS Live. There he go. There you go.
Can you see me now?
Yes, sir. Got you.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for making it seem like I know what I'm doing. I appreciate that. But I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Reside in Virginia now, and the thing that I'm working on now that I really hope it reaches a lot of people, because it's about helping people, is datinginterview.com. And your page, your group motivated me to create this, because what I read on posts from so many adults is the frustration, the confusion, anger when it comes to dating. And I want to be a part of change, and everything I've done in my career in terms of service to people has been about making other people's lives a lot easier. So thank you for always thinking about me to invite me. Is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Likewise, brother. Great to have you back on board. And what you're doing, man, you already have planted that seed in the group and elsewhere. And trust me, it's just going to flourish. It's just going to grow, brother. So I'm glad to be on the journey with you. All right.
Right.
So listen, today I think this is a great topic to discuss because I feel like the institution of marriage has declined in the last decade. In fact, I would say, according to blackdemographics.com, in 2019, only 30% of African Americans were married, compared to 48% of all Americans. And half, or 50% of African Americans, have never ever been married, compared to 34% of Americans. So we want to touch on these components today from a man's perspective. What may lead them to why marriage may not benefit them? And that's what we're going to hit on today. All right. So the first subtopic that we're going to touch on that may be a huge component is the downsides of modern women marrying traditional men. And you see within this pic right here, this is what modern women do. Very aggressive and very assertive. So let me just break this down right quick. So my thing is that the women and clients that I talk to, they all want a traditional man who leads, protects, and provides. But their emotional energy is the complete opposite. For example, they refuse to be submissive. They're unwilling to cooperate. they're extremely independent, and there's no space for a man to lead, and there's not even no emotional support, because in their mind, biologically, since he's the man, it's all about the outcome, whether it's his money, what he brings to the table, or his emotional support despite his well-being. In their mind, it's happy wife, happy life, which means that there's no balance in the relationship, right? So first, I am coming to my brother Floyd. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
You know, I hear a lot of women talk about they want a traditional man, but I think a lot of women aren't willing to be traditional themselves. You know, like for instance, how many women actually still cook or clean? I think when you talk about traditional, how far back are we willing to go? You know, to the type of things that women used to do a long, long time ago. You know, you can't just say that you want the benefits of a woman, but then when it comes to doing the same things that our grandmothers did or back before, now I don't want those things. You know, like Tramel said, being submissive, and it doesn't mean that you're someone's slave, but you know, do I have to come? Am I coming home to friendly fire? You know, or am I coming home to a environment where after a hard day's work, can I come home and know that I'm at peace at home?
That is fire, man. And listen, we're gonna hit some nerves today. And here we go. Let me just put a comment right quick. It's already hit some nerves.
Naomi said, she said, I already need a cigarette.
All right, all right. Next comment before I come to my next panelist. What's this comment?
Flo said, we cooking now, me and my sister.
Okay, Flo. Save me a plate, Flo. That's very attractive. Save me a plate. Next comment.
And Miss Cameron, she said, that's real talk.
You see, the mature people understand that. Okay. So now I'm coming to my brother Baub.
Baub.
Yes. What are your thoughts on this particular topic? What's your insight?
I'm with Floyd. You know, you coming home to friendly fire. You know, traditional marriage nowadays. Man, I talking about, you know, how the women want to take the man role and want the man to play the woman. You know, I mean, like, you know, I think the emasculation of black men is you know, that's something that's being promoted big time. You know,
Absolutely.
We love and respect everybody. I love and respect everybody, but we have to tell the truth. We have to come out there and say, look, black men are being emasculated in their own homes, and the women want to wear the beard and the mustache and want to throw him in a skirt, and he's her wife now. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, very well said, brother. Here's the thing, man. Before I come to my brother Eric, if you look at data, if you actually look back in the day, traditional roles have sustained black families. And I feel like in today's day and age, when it's survival mode, it makes a woman more independent. And I feel like the more independent she is, the more masculine she is. And when the more masculine she is, she feels like she doesn't need a man. And if she feels like she doesn't need a man, then she will value a man even less. And if she doesn't value a man, then she won't respect a man. And this will push away quality men, which will hinder them from making a great family dynamic. Now, you see this happening a lot in today's society, right? So I'm coming to my brother Eric. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
What I think about is an old Essence magazine that I saw years ago. You had all of these beautiful, successful women, and they were single. And what I realized is, and from someone who has dated a lot of professional women, it's hard for them to turn it off because they had to be assertive, they had to be aggressive, they had to be very independent to take care of themselves. But what they find is when they finally get it with a man, it's hard for them to turn that switch off. And the man has to become more assertive. You know, if he's laid back like me, I'm a laid back type of guy. But when I've had to be with a woman like that, I had to become more assertive, or else they would have ran all over me. You see what I'm saying? And so I just think that with today's women, they have to learn how to turn it off. That there's a switch that learn to turn off, order to allow that man to be a man. One of the comments that I close real quickly. One of the comments that I've always hated that I've heard from women is, then be more of a man. You've never been a man. So how do you know what's more of a man or less of a man? And basically she's saying, if I can be more of a man than you, then you don't need to be that man. You see what I'm saying? If you could be more of a man than him, then let him go. Okay, so that's my comment.
Okay. Here's the thing, man, and I'm glad you brought up that point, Eric, about the whole assertiveness, right? In a relationship, one person is going to be a little bit more assertive than the other. It's just the way it is. Just to use this as an analogy, if two people are equally submissive, it's almost as an analogy going out with someone and it was like, what do you want to do? And the other person like, what do you want to do? Then another person is like, what do you want to do? And they're both submissive. When there's two people trying to lead, it's almost as if they will slip and fall if they're trying to do the same choreography when they're dancing. There's nobody like actually leading the routine when two people are trying to lead at the same time, which is called a collision, like two rams bowling at each other. So it's very important. I just want to point that out when you said assertive. That's very important to pay attention to that aspect of what you just broke down. So now I'm coming to my brother Carl, man. I mean, modern women, do you think they're doing themselves a disservice when they're trying to marry a traditional man?
Woo, man. Oh, man. What part do I want to start at? Let's I'm gonna break it down this way. I'm gonna hit from a couple of different angles and viewers, just forgive me for hitting it, y'all. Don't even worry about it. It's coming. So let's start with the 50-50, the roommate post that you see out there. Philosophy. You know, if a man goes 50-50 with a woman, right? We're roommates. Okay, so here again, we talk about modern and traditional. So a modern woman still wants a traditional man to be a provider, a protector, lead, to do all these different things within the marriage. So when you ask a question, well, what are you going to do at this point? Well, I'm going to continue to work and still expect you to do half at home. That doesn't allow a marriage to flourish properly if you're doing that. And again, if that's something you guys want to agree, everybody's different on those types of things. But that's now saying, I'm going to have my money, but I'm going to use your money to pay all the bills. That doesn't work. And see, that'll tie into the next topic we're going into. I'll bring up more on that. But that'll put a lot of men in a place of, so we're using all of mine, we're putting yours up. And I understand a lot of women will say, well, we'll use my money for vacation or we'll put it aside to investment. But if you walk away, you know, there's an issue there, you know, because he's paying for everything. Like I said, I don't want to give away what I'm going to say next in the next topic, subtopic. The other part we run into with a modern woman or a traditional man, and Bob talked about it also, you know, she's wanting to run things, and that's out of order. You know, and again, I just, like I said, again, we can be biblical. We can look at the Quran. You can look at all these different things. It doesn't happen. It doesn't take place. You know, and so these are one of the issues I think we're running into today in society, that they want the man to still do all this stuff, but I still want to do these things. And again, it's a partnership. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership. And again, we all have to determine what works for us within our marriages, what works for us within our relationships. but there are some things that just don't need to be done. There's some things that just take things out of order, out of place, and that's why you see the divorce rate. Now, again, I'm going to step back and I'm say this: there are some men who should not be husbands. They're not equipped. To keep it real, there are some men that are just not equipped to be husbands. Whether they're traditional, modern, doesn't matter. They're just not equipped to be that. They just need to sit on the bench and stay out of the game. And that's one of the problems we have here. And see, that comes from the accountability piece of who are you dealing with, who are you dating, what's going on. So for a man to operate fully in his masculine role, he cannot be emasculated coming home. Friendly fire has been said. He can't go through those types of things. And, I understand sometimes, women who work, it got to turn that switch off when they come home.
Yeah.
They've got to turn it off. See, but if you're going to be a modern woman and you want all the modern things, you can't have both. It's an oxymoron. You're saying modern, traditional, you're fighting against each other. So you either need to have a modern marriage or a traditional marriage. You can't have both. It's not going to last. And that's one of the things today when you hear, like I said, women say, I don't need a man, or I can just walk away. I don't have to deal with this. And that's true. You can. Women have more options. I mean, they file for, in the African-American community, women file for 90% of divorces. So, they can walk away. They're able to survive. And I'm not knocking that. And I'm all for it. I tell people this: equal pay, equal, doing the same job, equal pay. I agree with that. But the toxic radical feminist movement has caused a major destruction of healthy relationships in society. And until we're willing to face that and realize where it came from and how it was started and what it was supposed to be and where it's at now, we're never going to get anywhere. I'm going to leave it at that part.
Woo. Man. That was a lot of jewels within itself. Speaking of that, we have one of our sisters. She very thoughtful. I think her first time in the DVD. Appreciate it. This is what she has to say.
Teresa, I appreciate it. She said, I was raised to be very independent and not to rely on men. This has worked against me in so many ways. I ended up with men who weren't motivated to excel in life and essentially were very feminine. I got burnt out trying to do it all. I realize now that I want a masculine man who leads, provides, and protects. I'm comfortable in my feminine energy to be submissive to my man and let him take the lead. If he's paying the bills, I'm happy to keep our home together and in order. We all bring something to the table.
Ooh. Yes. Wow. You know what? Damn it. Appreciate you joining this live, Teresa. Great comment, by the way. Yes, I mean, Carl, you had a lot of things on the nail with that, because with today's society, the way everything is operating right now, it's almost stating that it's okay to be very for the sisters to be more aggressive, to come out of their element, and then they wonder why, like, the good men skip over them and naturally gravitate to a woman that's in her natural feminine essence. And by the way, I have nothing against my independent sisters out there that's doing their thing. Yeah, I encourage you to keep doing your day. But when you don't embrace your natural feminine essence, meaning that you offer friendly fire, you're not his emotional supporter, you're adding stress to his life instead of relieving his stress. You put the bag before your husband, then sooner or later, it will cause resentment in the marriage. And if that leads to divorce, hell, then alimony may come into play, which we'll talk about shortly. But that will benefit a sister more than it will benefit a good man, unfortunately. So here's go my follow-up question. Now I'll come to Eric with this. No, actually, a few weeks ago, my brother Carl, he posts in DBDS, he'll lead properly if she submits naturally. And I think it went over a lot of people's heads, especially our sisters. And what I got from, and Carl, what I got from your post is that the key word to me was natural, right? And a lot of sisters, if you're not embracing your natural feminine essence, then those good brothers will, as I stated, they'll just go right over to the next. So my question is, when a woman acts feminine, submissive, and cooperative only when it benefits her best interests, compared to one who is authentic and embraces it 24/7, Do you think that hurts modern women as to why they can't get with a traditional man? And that's coming to Eric.
Does it hurt modern women when it comes to traditional men?
When they just pretend or they act feminine when they want to, but that's not who they, they have more masculine.
Well, anytime you act as an imposter, it's gonna hurt. One of the things that I would always be women's transparent, and that is if you're looking for somebody to fix something, I'm not the man for you. Okay? Because at some point life is going to present you with the opportunity to show who you really are. And that's when you kind of like, wow, so yes, anytime that you are acting as an imposter, it's going to eventually catch up with you at some point. So that's pretty much my response. I just think that be who you are, be authentic. If you're not that soft, cuddly woman, verbalize that. Just let people know, let the man know I'm not that, soft, sensitive type of woman that you're looking for, whatever, and give that man the opportunity to say, okay, then you're not the person for me. But those type of women oftentimes are not going to do that because they want a man, but they just don't want to change. They want to, bring up that they're going to act like that imposter to keep that man, but eventually it's going to come out, and eventually that man is going to get sick of it. He's going to leave.
Okay, very well said, my brother. The reason why I brought that up, and I'm going to come to my brother Floyd momentarily, but I hear a lot of sisters that state like, I'm only going to submit when I'm married, but they don't embrace it before they get married, in other words. And it's like, it's almost as if I'm going to swim when you throw me in the ocean. I'm going to teach myself how to swim as soon as you throw me in the ocean. No, you should already know how to swim before you get thrown in the ocean. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of our sisters don't understand that. Listen, I'm coming to my brother Floyd. What are your thoughts, my man?
What Eric said is very, very powerful, and I think it's if a lot of women really understand, one of the reasons why a lot of men, I believe, they say a lot of men don't want to marry. I don't believe that's true. I think a lot of men want to marry, but I think they're scared of the woman that they actually get after they get married is not the woman that they dated.
Okay.
You can be feminine, you can look good, you're pretty, you have all that going into the relationship, but a lot of men fear, are you going to change after we get married? Am I still going to be with that same woman that I was dating, or like Tremel said, are you gonna you look like grandma right now, but then later on down the road, am I going to see symptoms that you might be a wolf? Is your ears going to look different? Is your nose going to look different? Am I going to be able to recognize that you are the same person that I said I do at the altar? And so a lot of men are fearful of, like, wait a minute, who am I going to wake up with after I say I do?
Ooh, okay. Ooh, man. Okay, second mic drop. People come with the fire. Baub, man. I mean, what is your take on that, man? I mean, a lot of sisters, man, they state, I will only be cooperative, once he's my husband, or just to certain men. They're just not like that 24/7. I mean, that's what attracted me to my woman before she became my wife. That was just naturally her. She's just a polite person to everybody. She doesn't just be like, I'm going to be polite until he becomes my husband.
Yeah.
But she just embracing that essence all around the board, man. I mean, what is your take on that?
Well, yeah, like it was Floyd said. He said it's not that men don't want to get married.
Right.
When I was younger, and even now, I don't like the girly girl. Like the girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you like to drink water, you know, when you eat salad, you know, I mean, you don't want that. You know, you want a woman that's gonna eat a piece of fried chicken with her hands, you know. But
You want a
also,
roundaway girl.
Yes,
yeah,
that's way. Yeah, right.
yeah, you know, not
Hey,
afraid
brother,
to
not
throw on a
knocking you,
pair of
brother.
jeans every now and then. But I like the tight dresses and
Mhm.
you know the stilettos or the jeans and the stilettos. You know, um, I think the thing is like we come across a lot of women, especially damaged women. You know, they'll get out of a relationship and jump into another one. The guy gets out of a relationship and jumps in with the first fine chick he meets at a club or wherever, and that's a mistake because you go into the club to meet a woman. Um, but I think you have a lot of women who want to get married, but they're not earning marriage. You know, it's like, you know, we've been together for 3 weeks and you still ain't talk about marriage. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, it's like, yo, what are you doing? Like I don't want to get into this, you know, and then, you know, look at you now. Well, it's gonna be even worse than this when we get married. Now I'm stuck in a contract. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so you know, yeah, I think a lot of factors plays into whether we want to get married or not. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I just think that maybe you know this show is not long enough for these even for this right here, man. Like this right here, we're
Oh, brother,
talking
this
about
is only the first topic.
yeah. So I'm just saying, like these brothers said, like you don't want to, you know, meet grandma and then the wolf later on. But then again, I wouldn't want to marry grandma neither. Like, yo, grandma looking kind of sexy by that bar.
Well said, my brother. Well said. And Carl, I mean, this was like right off your post a few weeks ago about
Mhm.
he'll lead properly if she submits naturally, and it went over a lot of people's heads. Do you want to elaborate that in more context?
Yeah, and really the post, because you see a reverse post that says, you know, she'll submit naturally if he leads properly, and unfortunately it go hand in hand. And we just changed the words around, and again there were so many people who were furious and said, well, I'm not submitting to a man that can't lead. I agree. You should, number one, you should only be submitting to a man who's your husband. That's number one. That we need to start there. You know, number two, you know, I'll tell men, look, if you can't lead yourself, how do you expect to lead your family? You know, if you have no vision, no plan, no nothing in place, then how are you even going to be able to lead? And so I'll tell women, if he doesn't have those things in place, you're not going to be able to follow him. I agree with that. But as you said before, man, you know, it's not a switch. You can't turn a switch on when you get married to lead or submit. And I think a lot of people get frustrated with those types of things. And then so you see, well, you hear well, I'm the prize, you know, on that post. You know, you saw it, and they're like, you know, I'm the prize. You know, the Bible says, you know, Proverbs 18:22, a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. And I keep telling them, I said, but if nobody's found you as a wife, you're not a good thing. Nobody has seen you as a good thing because nobody's made you a wife. And I'm not saying that to knock anyone. I'm saying that to understand where a healthy relationship needs to be the prize. We both are the prize, and if we come in here the right way, and we need to stop trying to quote scripture, partial scriptures to get what we want with stuff, you know. So just like with the submissive part, you know, as a man, you know, needs us to be submitting unto the Lord, and you know himself, and it says, wife submit unto your husband, and he submits unto the Lord. So if he's doing what he's supposed to do, why you need to submit? But I know some women say it sounds archaic. Some people say it sounds like slavery. It's not. It's actually beautiful, you know. And it's I can't remember who was it who put Teresa posted in there. You know, she said she has no problem doing that naturally. She said because it allows her man to stay in his masculine state. That's part of her feminine state. And so it needs to be natural. It needs to be something that's being done on a regular basis, not something that I'll learn how to do this once I get into the marriage. Because again, yeah, you're right. Because if a man sees a woman, and and again, I always talk about this. I'm talking about men who want marriage, men who, and again, there's a lot of men who want to get married. There's a lot of reasons why they're not getting married. And we'll talk some more of that in the next segment.
Yeah.
But the men that want to get married, if they see a woman who's combative, argumentative, constantly not taking accountability types of things there, you can't follow somebody. I can't lead you. So if you're that way, I can't lead. I can't lead properly in a relationship. No matter how much everything else you got going on, I will not have the ability. I can check you. I can try to talk to you. But if you're combative and you're argumentative and you can't take it, that man can't lead at all. And that's what that post means. I can't lead properly if you're not submitting naturally. And I know people, again, that goes back to traditional values. And now you're talking about where today's modern women, they decided, hey, that doesn't work for us. So we want to pull this out. And that's why I said modern traditional relationships will never work. They'll never work because you want to pull out pieces to what you want. It's like a puzzle. I'm going to take these, or it's like a recipe. I'm pulling this out, this out, this out. I'm still making a cake, but I'm going to pull out the flour and I'm going to pull out the baking soda. And I'm gonna pull out the flavoring and still bake a cake. It's not gonna be a cake. It's gonna be a disaster.
Absolutely,
because that's what they want to do. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Ooh. By the way, shout out to my brother George, Adria on the check-in, Shantavia, Natalie, Sugar, Toya, Thomas Johnson. Appreciate you guys on the check-in. Coming back to my brother Floyd, what else you want to add to this topic before we go to a commercial break?
What Carl was saying, one of the things that attracted me to my fiance was, even though up front she had a lot of the qualities I'm looking for, because I was in relationships where all of these things were shown, but then later on down the road, like, wait a minute, this is not the person that you said you was going to be, and this is the person that I saw. So I purposely gave her a chance, an opportunity to really, because I needed to know, because I was a man I wanted to marry, but I didn't want to have to go through the same thing over again. So I said, okay, well, this time I need to really give her time, because over time people reveal who they really are if you give them time. One of the things that attracted me to her was that she was consistent.
Yes.
She didn't change the person that she was. And the longer that we dated, and the longer that we spoke, and the longer that we spent time together, she was so consistent. What made me realize and decide, okay, this person is someone that I could spend the rest of my life with. So I think a lot of times women need to ask themselves, if you say that you're really ready to marry, are you truly ready to marry? What are you bringing to that man's life? Are you healed from your past? Are there still triggers that trigger you in the next relationship going forward? It might be something that this guy does that reminds you of something that the last guy did. Are you healed enough yet? You may make a good wife, but the last guy you was with brought out a side of you that you didn't, that wasn't beneficial for you, or it won't be beneficial to the next guy. I said, one of the things that really attracted me to my fiance was that she was consistent, and I needed to see that, because I was consistent and she was consistent, so it made it a lot easier for me to decide, okay, this is it.
Yes, very well said. Sharing your story with us, man, because I'm telling you, man, that feminine energy, that automatically attracts that masculine energy. But at the same time, which we all will have, I'm sure all of us agree with, but this is why it's so important during the course of the dating process to collect data. This is why I stress so much on being proactive, having principles and standards. I personally believe, like, the best companies in the world they all have like a set of cultural values that they follow. It's not based off of feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If someone is not doing their job or they're mishandling things that may cost your company to lose billions of dollars, guess what? They're going to be fired. But you got to be proactive instead of being reactive, only just on emotions, because I feel like emotions clouds a lot of things. It's okay, definitely have chemistry and so forth, but the compatibility principles and the values is going to help you to weed out the sisters out there that are not really bride-worthy material, and vice versa. But today we focus on the men. So before we go to commercial break, I'm just going to pull up a couple of comments. First one, this was towards Eric right here.
From Denise, she said, "Okay, you are not a fixer, but will you call someone to come and fix it?"
No, I guess what Eric was saying, fixer. Okay.
What was the?
Go ahead, Eric.
What was the comment? I didn't see it.
Okay, I'll pull it back up here. There you go.
Yeah, she was saying, "Okay, you are not a fixer, but will you call someone to come and fix it?"
Oh, of course, yeah. Of course, I've done that several times. I'm just not somebody that's going to lie to you. I mean, it's just
Word.
you know. Yes, of course. I'm still doing that.
Okay. All right. Next comment, right quick.
From Thomas, he said, "I like the cake situation."
Okay.
Yeah, because when you take out the ingredients, don't expect a perfectly put recipe. Yep. Exactly.
Ooh, fire.
Who's that person?
And but I think we wait until the other person gives in first, and it never happens. No, it never does.
Never does, man. Yeah. Man. All right, man. Well, this is great conversations, man. Sit tight, man. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to try our best to get more substance to the second topic. This is DBDS Live. Don't you go anywhere.
Are you single? Do you know about dbdssingles.com? Are you ready to meet a quality man or classy woman? The DBDS brothers want you to know that love and loyalty still exists. So if you're ready to meet relationship-ready people, sign up today at dbdssingles.com. Let's make love and loyalty dope again.
So many people are calling for police reform. And so because they're calling for police reform, they may not understand that there are many organizations who are already responding.
And I feel like you have to really get to know people, see if they share the same core values as you before you get involved with them.
I want to ask a question as to how we got to this place right here, where mask wearing, where COVID-19, where public health is all politicized. I really want you all to think about this. How did we get to this particular point?
It's really a nice balance when femininity and masculinity can mix together and just create this awesome, experience.
Blah. Welcome back to DBDS Live. I'm your host, Mel Money, and I'm here with my brother Baub, my brother Floyd, and my brother Carl, and my brother Eric. And listen, we've just been dropping those nuggets down. And today's show is titled about the benefit. Does marriage does it benefit our men today? That's very important. So before we go and dive into our second topic, I just want to pull up my man Dudley's comment, David Dudley. And this is a question to the panelists. Here goes a question.
As men, how do y'all view a man constantly keeping the long-term committed relationship a non-marriage?
Good question, David. I'll let you go first, Carl, and we'll just go right around the horn, man.
To me, if a man's doing that, he hasn't found his wife. That's simplicity. If you're in a long-term committed relationship and you're not marrying that woman and that's all you want, he's basically either A, doesn't want to leave a legacy,
right,
B, she's a placeholder until he finds what he wants, and gives him what he needs out of a relationship, and can be his partner, his wife. So yeah, like I said, to me though, I have an issue with that personally. Whether it's a man, whether it's a woman doing it, usually, well, men control marriage in this situation. But if you're not going to marry her, let her go. Let the person who's designed for her to come along and be with her, versus holding on to her. Because she's filling a place, she's filling a warm spot in the bed right now until you find, to that woman that you're looking for comes along.
Okay. Very well said. Next, I'm coming to my brother Floyd, to my man David, asking that question. What is your answer to that?
I'm going to piggyback off of what Carl said. The bottom line is, she's not wife material. Like Carl said, this is just somebody that's just a stand-in, someone that's just occupying the time, filling space. That's one thing. I think another thing too is sometimes I think a man wants the benefit but not the responsibility. So he may like the fact of having a woman around and all that stuff, but to go deeper and be more committed, you also going to accept some responsibilities as being her husband, committed in a relationship that you don't have to be responsible for as just a boyfriend. So I think what are you someone that's going to bring value to her or take value away from her?
Yeah. Very well said, brother. Man. Are you an asset or a liability? Coming to you, Bob. I mean, to my man David's question, as men, how do y'all view a man constantly keeping a long-term committed relationship and non-marriage? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I understand these guys. I've been in really, really long-term relationships. Because I could count on one hand how many because I really do value my relationships. I don't just go in just to be with somebody, So my relationships are really long-term. My longest 15 years. My one before this one that I'm in was 5 years, and it's I think sometimes it's obvious that the relationship is not the best, but everybody has problems, right? So maybe they're trying to make it work out. Maybe it's like, okay, you got used to this person. This person's more like family at this point. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I've been with this person for a long time. Like I know them. Like technically, we're married, or maybe they don't have the money to get a ring. Maybe the guy can't afford a ring. And women, as much as they say, well, it doesn't matter, you could just put like a frosted flake Fruit Loop around my fingers and I'll be good with that. But they want like 3 carats or more, you know what I mean? Like so now it becomes like this thing like, okay, I'm not gonna go buy her, like if I get this ring, I know her girlfriends are gonna say something because they're like, oh, it's cute, you got your ring. Oh, what do you think? It's cute. I can't see it, but it's cute. What do you pay, like $800 for it? Wow. Okay. Hey, to each his own. But it's not. I think people just tolerate each other at some point, and they make it work out as long as they can. And they just basically just ride it till the wheels fall off. Wherever the wheels ends up, if the car drives, the car drives. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And so I don't judge these men at all. I don't.
Okay. Okay. Very well said. Appreciate your comment, my brother. And to my man Eric. I mean, as men, how to my man David's question, what is your insight? What is your take on it?
Well, to me, if the woman's intention is marriage, then just let her go.
Yeah.
I've known several situations like that, and I've seen the pain in these women. I've seen it and I've heard it, and there's not really much that I could tell them. It's if the woman's, if her belief and that's what she wants, then you let her go and let her find someone that wants her as a wife. But as a man, men know when he's found a wife.
Word.
And well, his wife. And it don't take them 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. They just know. And whatever experience they might have had before then, there's something inside of us, and I can't speak for you, brother, brother T, but I can speak for myself. You know, for example, the woman that I'm with, I knew when I was 21, but you know, people are in your ear saying, "Oh, you know, it's your first love. It'll pass. You'll find that connection with someone else." And when we got back together, it was refreshing to hear from her that she never did, and neither did I. And I was married for 18 years. I didn't even have that level of connection with her. So to sum it up, you know, if the woman's intention is to marry, then you know, just do the right thing and let it go.
Okay. Well said. But I'm gonna hit you back with this, Eric. Here's my question. But what if, like my man Baub said, what if it's like, for example, 15 years and he just could not afford a ring, and that's why he couldn't then marry her? 15
well,
20 years, you know.
I know the ring is very symbolic, but you could 20 years. You could have saved $100.
$100 a year.
Brother, I'm pretty good.
I know you guys were gonna laugh at that.
3 pennies a day.
I'm pretty good with numbers, so you know. So practically, I'm thinking, shoot, what, $30, $40,
30 cents a day, 30 cents a day.
Years. Dude, I mean, you know what type of ring he could have got her? She would have been the envy of every woman at her job.
All right. Facts, man. Facts. Gotta put that. All right. Appreciate that. You know, appreciate the question, David. Really do, man. Take his off the board. And I'll just come up
Thanks,
with
Dudley.
Appreciate that, man. And
Thank you, man.
All right, Carl, here we go.
Oh, from my mom. My mom said, she said, okay, gentlemen, she said, please break down for the women listening what you feel submissive means. I know, but some women feel it means they have no rights, which is not true.
Well, I mean, not Afghanistan, you know what I mean? So go ahead.
Well, I'll go first on that. I'm glad you brought that up. So my thing is, I feel like submit has a lot of unbalanced terms today. Like I feel like for our sisters out there, if you guys are watching, you should submit to a man who uplifts you, who inspires you, who motivates you, who honors you, who will put his life on the line for you when danger comes. Yeah, you should submit to a man like that. And when you submit to your man and he's pouring all these different components into you to make you a better woman, that doesn't mean you're a slave. That simply means that you honor your man. That's all that is.
Right.
And in turn, that man is going to continue to be devoted, respectful, loving, affectionate. He's going to continue to make sure that his legacy and the family aspect itself is going to be taken care of. So I tell you what, just from experience, there's not a day that I don't go out there thinking like, what can I do to make sure my family is safe? Quick example before we get into our topic. We have 2 cars. One may be having a transmission problem. Wifey was like, hey, you're going to the grocery store. Why don't you take the good car and leave the bad one home? You know what I said? I said, no, I'm going to leave the one with the bad transmission. I'm going to take the one with the bad transmission. Because God forbid anything happens, you could take Ava, you could take my daughter to the hospital, you know, if anything happens. But I'm going to be okay. Whether if I have to hitchhike back home whether if I have to get a tow truck, but my whole mind frame is instinct is protective to make sure they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
So to the sisters out there, you should submit to a man that has all those attributes that is bringing that to the table. So that's my take on it, and I'm glad you brought that comment up. I'll come to Eric.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
About this, about her question about what is submissive to me is respect. I just believe, I think it has a lot to do with respect. And if this man is saying something that's worth value, respect him enough to at least listen. But if it's something even worth more value, you know, take it and run with it. So that's what, to me, that's what submissive means. When that man makes a decision for the betterment of the family, trust him enough to, you know, respect that and move on. It's like in my household, I watched my mother do that all the time. They will go back and forth, but if Mr. Legette said, no, this is where we're going to go, and give a reason why, she respected him enough to say, okay. And that didn't make my mother weak for doing that. And she never saw herself as being weak. She saw herself as being, you know, her listening to her husband, and her husband providing a better point and evidence to support his point. And she says, okay, let's ride with that. So that's what submissive mean to me.
Very well said, man. And here's the thing with the whole submissive part. To my sisters out there, if you truly respect this man, a huge component with submissive is trusting your man. You know, if you got yourself a good man, then 80% of the time he's going to make great decisions on the benefit of the entire family. If you don't have trust in your relationship at all, then honestly you don't have no relationship. And trust is part of being submissive. You know, to be like, man, I know I got a good man that's going to lead the family in the right direction. And as far as the sister that don't understand the difference between control and lead, and my wife said this the other day to me. Mm-hmm. She said, you're in control, Tramel, but you're not a controlling man. You're in control, but you're not a controlling man. Mm-hmm. That's what leading is. Okay, my peoples. Coming to you, Floyd. There's a great comment on the screen right here. What do you feel submissive means, my brother?
You know, you guys said a lot of great things already. I think I like what the brother said. First of all, it comes from respecting that man. But again, has that man earned your respect? You know, is he doing what he's supposed to do as a man for you to earn your respect? Mm-hmm. Like I said, my fiance, she says, you know, Floyd, if there's some things that need to get done, I'm not gonna ride you about it. I'm not gonna, you know, come down hard, all that stuff, because I know you're gonna get it done. So she trusts me enough to know that I'm gonna get these things done. But she also respects me. For instance, I'm raising a 10-year-old boy. There's some things that she knows that I can teach him that she can't. So when me and him is talking, she steps back. You know, she doesn't step in and try to rescue him, because she realizes, look, you know, my son needs this male figure in his life, because there'll be some things that he's going to need that only this man can teach him. Again, I like what the brother said, that my fiance is submissive to me because of how I lead and what I do. I wash the dishes. I just got to wash in the car. You know, I do a lot of the things that makes her feel safe and makes her feel that I'm someone that she can submit to. You know, but she's a very submissive woman. She's not argumentative. She's really careful what she says. She doesn't verbally castrate me. Unfortunately, you know, that's one of the issues that we deal with as men. You know, a lot of women don't know how to talk to us, but because of who she is to me, it makes it easy for me to be who I need to be for her.
That's deep. Okay, very well said.
Great point.
Ooh, that was a mic drop right there.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Baub. I mean, what do you feel submissive? What do you feel that it means to you?
Well, before everybody started talking, I was like, I was gonna come in with my, because I'm, poet, words are important. I was like, well, maybe we should use the word submissive. Because I don't like controlling anyone. And but when you said like she said you're in control. Like you're in control, but you don't. What did you say exactly, Mel?
Oh, wifey. Oh, I gave her credit for this. You're in control, but you're not a controlling man.
Yes. I because I always thought the word submissive meant controlling, where she would submit to your demands like a genie, as you may. I mean that's sort of like what plays in my head. But I know you guys are very loving men, brothers, so I know I didn't mean it like that.
No doubt.
So when I think of submissive now, I'm thinking someone who's blindfolded and they're falling back. They're just falling, let their body drop back, and they have to trust you that you're gonna be there to grab them.
Fire.
And that's submissive to me. Yes.
2 mic drops in a row. That was fire. Well said. And lastly, Carl, man, coming back to you from your mother's amazing comment. I mean, what do you think submissive means?
I actually was Googling something, looking at it. So the Cambridge Dictionary, which is crazy, and this is why we have this, we're having this conversation argument, but it says allowing yourself to be controlled by other people or animals. He was looking for a quiet, submissive wife who will obey his every word. And that is twisting the complete word and verbiage of what we're talking about. But if you scroll down, go look at other definitions, and they're talking about, a submissive wife is someone who does what she does out of the love for her husband, someone who helps her husband as they work together to achieve common goals and to maintain their vows within their relationship and within their marriage. And see, like I said, you guys have hit everything else on there, but when you have a situation where you run into the dictionary being tweaked and changed to fit a narrative, this is a problem, And so again, it's even like like I said, it's nothing wrong with doing certain things for your wife, and it's not about control. It's just like if I was married to an accountant, why would I not submit to her accountant background when it comes to the finances in the household? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Why would I not? Why would I not yield? Why would I not step back and allow her to do the books on that? We're doing it together, and it's not. I always tell you, it's not about control. It's if it's done when it's done properly, it's not about control. A man running around saying, "Well, I need a woman that's going to submit. She's got to submit," or
that's control.
Yeah, that's control because he doesn't know how to lead. But I'm not going to ask it. I'm going to see it. She'll display those things. And again, that's why I said before, it's not a switch. And when women understand when they're operating, I would say it this way: a woman operating in her complete femininity does not know how attractive, sexy, everything you want. That's a K. Jewelers, Jared, wherever you want it from, 4 or 5 carat ready moment for you when you're operating that way. You're going to attract those type of men. They're not going to sit there and come up to you and tell you got to submit. They're going to just start leading because they see what you're offering already. Trust me.
Yeah. Fire, man. Everyone is dropping. Thing that I just want to point out what Floyd said earlier, man. When a woman feels comfortable and safe, it shows that she does trust that man. She got to feel comfortable and safe. So you hit it right on in the head now. I mean, Carl, when a man is like how you just stated, control, and he's like barking orders and everything like that, that's a man that's not leading. That's a man that's controlling. That's not in a relationship. I call it a dictatorship. When a man is using his strength in a brutal way to manipulate and control a woman, compared to a man that's doing it in a respectful, loving way. Yes, he still gets input from his queen, but she trusts him enough to guide the ship in the right direction. I'm sure you guys seen the Titanic. She knows that he's not going to hit that iceberg. She trusts him enough to do so, right? So I'm coming back to my brother Floyd. What else you want to add to this topic?
Yeah, what you guys were saying is so true. I think as you guys was talking, I was listening, I was remembering the scripture where it talks about the Proverbs 30-year-old woman. One of the things that I read was that it says that her husband's heart rests well with her. And I looked at that, I'm thinking, okay, so what is it about this woman that her husband's heart finds a home? I think a lot of times when a man heart can find a home with his woman, it's more likely for him to do what he needs to do as a man. I think when he feels that you have to struggle and fight and prove, and we already have to go out there in the world and fight the world, and then I gotta come home and fight you. One of the things, like I said, going back to my fiance, my heart has found a home. So it helps me to be able to focus on other things that I need to focus on as far as being a man, doing things I need to do, because it's not this inner fighting, this arguing, this fussing, this stuff. But again, it was something that she said to me was very important. She said, Floyd, don't make me promises if you can't follow through. And so at the same time, everything that I may want to do, if I can't do it, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna do it and let my actions show more than what I say. I think a lot of times women are looking for someone to say, don't tell me what you're gonna do, just do it.
Word. Yeah, word.
That's right.
Word.
Because so many times you've told me you're gonna do this and then you fall short. Your intentions may not to be to fall short, but nevertheless, if you don't follow through on what you promised, she's still gonna look at you and say, wait a minute, how many times you gonna tell me that you would do this and we don't follow through? So what I've had to learn over the years is like, okay, if you're not gonna be able to do something, just don't say nothing, just do it.
Fire. I don't think we're going to get into our second topic, but you know why, Floyd, that's very important. You hit that on the money, because integrity is very important to a man. Very, very important. The thing is, with our sisters out there, we're just two different species, but women, they could change just like the season, just like the weather. One day it could be a sunny, nice day. The next day someone may have created this bad attitude and she got into an argument with that person, and then she may turn off and be very upset. They just change like the weather, like the season. They're more emotional than we are. But when it comes to a man, our word is our bond. It's very important. If a lot of brothers don't realize, but I think that's a huge component as to some relationships also don't last, because if you're not following through with your word, then it shows that you lack integrity, from my perspective. So listen, before we go to the second topic, we have a lot of comments flowing in, Carl. We got a lot of comments flowing in. So I'll go. Some people are taking notes. Damn it. Take those notes, man. That just goes to show that you guys are listening. We appreciate you guys joining the conversation. Next comment.
Submission is a natural response to loving leadership. Yep.
Yeah, true. It was just fire. Yeah. Another comment from David.
For me, submission is simply a change in mindset from egoistic to altruistic. A woman living a egoistic can pull any man and come and go as she pleases and make decisions with no counsel. But to submit is to bow down, but to not order her thoughts, to always have in mind she is acting as two at all times.
Okay. Very well said, David. From Ville.
Yield comes to mind for me. It's to pause and allow him to lead, protect, and provide. Your responsibility is to trust that you choose someone who has both your best interests in mind. Okay.
Exactly. Very well said. That's from a sister, my people. Next one.
And Proverbs 31, woman was an Alabama, yet of hundreds of Solomon's wives.
Okay. No, people enjoying the show. We appreciate you all on the check-in and appreciate you, David, with your amazing comments. Listen, we're going to come do one more topic. Sorry, people, we couldn't get to all three, but at least we're going to try to knock two out the park. So far, the first one was a damn good home run. So the next topic that we're going to touch on is how the court system can impact men in marriage. This is a very controversial topic, but here in DBDS, we don't shy away from anything. So let me size this up. So there are a lot of pros and cons as to why, a lot of brothers are not flocking to the altar, because they have to be precise on the woman they choose who they want to spend the rest of their life with, which I can understand. Because if you're with the wrong woman and you end up getting a divorce, chances are, and this happens, I know it happened to some brothers, but she may get half of the man's belongings and he still may have to support her for years to come. And it happens. Sadly, I don't think it's fair. So first, I'm coming to my man Eric, who has a lot of experience in this topic right here. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Well, as you know, I was the head of a fatherhood program for over 20 years. And the one thing consistent when the marriage ended, the child became a pawn. So he went from being full-time dad to now having to visit his child under supervision because of a false allegation. So, the court system can be unforgivable and very, very unpleasant for men if you don't know how to utilize the system and understand it right, then it can be extremely painful experience. So I can understand rethinking things, especially with the fact that, for example, if a child and think about a lot of men are thinking, okay, if something goes wrong, I'm going to try to take my son or daughter away from me. And that's something to really think about, because that is the first item of business. Look at the stars on there that have gone through the high profile situation. Alec Baldwin, about 15 years ago, was a horrible, horrible case. Dwayne Wade, he was a horrible case with his wife. So it's something to think about as a man. I mean, it's really, that's why. And I always try to tell young, be very, very careful you have children with. You gotta know what I found, and it was very interesting with men that had problems with their children. A lot of them didn't have a relationship with their dad.
Yeah.
So I always tell men, find that out, because when women don't have a relationship with the father, they don't really know the value of what a man is as far as a dad. They know the value of what he can give him financially, but they don't know the emotional side because they never had that. So they feel like, okay, if I made it okay, if I'm doing fine, my son or daughter, they're going to do fine without you too. But we need your money. But you, we don't need. That's why I help so many fathers fight for the right to continue on having an emotional relationship with their sons and daughters. So it is something that men have to think about. They do.
Okay, bro. Yeah, very well said, man. I mean, there's so many different components that can really affect not just only men, but children as well, to be used as pawns that can really have a devastating effect and create a vicious cycle for the next generation. Very well said. I'm coming to my brother Floyd. I mean, what is your thoughts how the court system can impact men in marriages and maybe that's why they're not flocking to the altar as women expect them to do. Pretty much.
You know, I think what Eric says is very important. I've been at the courthouse where I've seen men, I've spoke to men that was going through divorce to say, you know, hey, I haven't seen my child in X number of time because the child a lot of times is used as a pawn. I think the court system, if you can avoid the court system and work it out between between the two of you, I think it's the best thing to do. A lot of times in a divorce, the children look at themselves and blame themselves for the divorce.
I see. Yeah.
You know, they think that it's something that they did that mommy and daddy is not together no more. And I think too many times we lose the sight that the most, even if me and you didn't work out anymore, what type of effect it's going to have on a child. I think a lot of times we get so selfish and battling among each other that we forget about the kids. You know, this child is also going through divorce as well, and I think we can't lose sight of that. Like Eric said, I think the court system a lot of times do favor more so on the side of the women. And I do believe that, especially these high profile cases, a good example is Deion Sanders brought in an IG model to speak to his men recently, which I thought was pretty interesting. I'm like, but hey, you know, wait a minute, you gonna be, I think she said something about blue cash or blue chips or something, and he was like, look, you know, I'm bringing you in here to let you know that this was waiting for you when you make the big leagues. So it's like I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute, you know, but I like what Eric said. We need to prepare the next generation of men, but women too, so we can end this. The court system is not in our favor a lot of times. You know, it's really there to divide the family, to move the man out of the home, and that started a long time ago, and that's another topic. But you know, if we could work together as a couple for the betterment of what's going to be best for the child. At the end of the day, what's going to be best for the child? You know, we want to make sure this child grows up to be a productive member of society and be successful moving forward in their own lives.
Okay. Okay, very well said, Floyd. I mean, that's very, very powerful. It's something to really think about for the audience out there that's watching the show. I'm coming to my brother Baub, man. I mean, the court system, how does it impact men in marriages? You think it favor women more? What's your insight on that?
I had a friend of mine. I have actually a really good friend of mine. He great man, great man. And he ended up in a divorce because his wife cheated.
Oh man. Damn.
You know, and he's paying child support. I'm like, how does that work? You know what I mean? So, you know, I mean, they split, you know, she went her way, he went his way, and, you know, but he still pays child support. And I'm like, I never really understood that, you know. I think a lot of men are afraid of that. I've had, you know, I've had friends who say, well, I'm not going to do this no more after all the court cases and court dates and everything. I'm tired of this. And then he's married like 2-3 years later. You know what I mean? He's remarried. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. The court system, I do believe they favor more so for the woman, you know, because there's no way that, you know, a brother like Dr. Dre makes so much money and she want half. Half of what? You know, because when he was making that money, she was like, okay, you know, here's my, you know, $75.52. Put that in the pot. I think some things do need to change. I think a lot of things need to change. I think, you know, I don't know what else to say, bro. the court system scares everybody, but in particular us, brothers. It scares us. It scares the hell out of us. You know what I mean?
Very well said, brother. Appreciate your insight. And to be honest with you, man, I know a lot, even though this is, we coming from the man's perspective, but I know a lot of sisters that despise sisters that be using their kids as pawns.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, these natural feminine women, they will tell you in a heartbeat, like, I cannot stand women like that. So I give props to those sisters out there. Before I come to you, Floyd, I'm sorry, to you, Carl. Here goes some great comments right here. First one.
Naomi says, he said, I'm happy to sign a prenup. I want to protect my 401k too.
Oh, okay. Next one.
Cecil, the court system does not care about men, especially a black one. If she takes you to court, she don't care about you either.
All right. Next one for my sister Laquana.
She said, so important having that father figure in your kid's life. So sad when the mom used them as a pawn in a divorce or relationship.
Appreciate the comment, Laquana. Appreciate that. Next one for my sister Ville.
She said, I think he's paying child support because he still have an obligation to the child. It's not right by any means because she cheated. The child still needs to live and eat. And I'm going that would go towards my comment too.
Oh, so go ahead, Carl. You're next in line, brother.
So,
what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm about to drop a hammer on this one on the court system. It actually sucks. And I'm going to give some live examples. I actually talked to these guys and asked if they were cool with me using their examples of situations they went into. But I got a guy, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the modern versus traditional man situation, and the woman wants the man to pay everything and stuff and not pay anything and just put the money aside. This turns into a problem. Got a friend of mine, his wife made $125,000, he made $95,000 a year. She cheated on him. Literally put him out the house, threw him out, and went through the court system, and they have joint custody, and he has to pay her alimony and child support.
Oh,
now, I just told you, it's more than him. He's paying alimony and child support somewhere around $3,000 a month.
Oh,
wow. They have joint custody. I've got another friend whose wife, they got a 9, 7, and 3-year-old, was cheating on him, getting working. I'm not gonna say these guys are perfect, but these guys were not cheating. I don't hang around cheaters. And we're in a situation where she actually was staying with the other guy, moved into with the boyfriend that she was cheating with. The court gave her custody of his 3 girls. So he's got another man tucking his girls in at night. Because she didn't work, he was ordered to pay her $5,000 a month. He makes north of $300,000. Close to $300,000. He had to pay her $5,000 a month in child support and another $2,000 a month in alimony, and she's living with another man. And he had to buy her out of the house. He had to buy her out of the house. She actually got an $80,000 check out of the house. My point is, this is what the court system is doing to men. They don't care. These women were abusive. I went through a divorce. My ex cheated, and the only thing that saved me was I lived in North Carolina. She felt she was entitled to half my military retirement, half of my government retirement, and because of this way the court system set up here, she backed up. I mean, we're fortunate where we can sue the person, all these different people involved in this stuff, and that saved me. But the court doesn't care, and that's why I tell women. I said, when you're sitting here telling men we want you to pay everything. If you walk away, the court system will look at you and say, well, you've been paying all the bills, Mr. So-and-so. I know she makes more than you or she's working, but since you paid all the bills, she gets half. You're going to have to still pay her alimony because she didn't pay any bills. So this goes into what we're talking about, the court system. And I will challenge people. I'll tell you, pull up the data, pull up the data. It's there. It sucks and it's unfortunate. And then again, we run into the situation where we're fighting for the kids. I kept my sons, I thank God they were old enough. They were able to, they made a choice to stay with me. And I'm glad, and I raised my sons. I didn't get child support. I didn't get things, why? And what people told me, if I asked for child support, I wasn't a man. I took care of my sons,
Wow.
and still I took care of my sons, and I still take care of my sons, and I'm helping them all this pay his way through college, all this stuff. They're telling me, well, you're doing what a man's supposed to do. But we're not
Wow.
protected at all as men in this. So, it's not even just about a prenup. From the comment, it's a lot of different things there, but we lose more. We can lose our last name. If that woman doesn't want to give up that last name, if it's not a common last name, why would you want to even deal with that? In that type of situation, why do you want to? We stand to lose more when we're going through a divorce, and it's not always a thing. And it goes back to what I said earlier: 80% of marriages are filed by women.
Right.
90% in the African American community. So you're telling me all of that's the men's fault? Give me a break. I don't want to listen to it no more. And so when I hear women that this whole pay this, do this, 50-50, this and this, y'all don't realize we stand to lose more all the time than a woman. Yeah, I mean, like I said, somebody just posted up there. Let's talk about Mary J. Blige situation.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yes.
Uncommon. It is I'm telling you, the percentage of women having to pay alimony to a man is less than 3%.
Yeah, that's the data. Got to look at the data, my people.
It's less than 3%. It doesn't matter how much they're paying. Men are paying more all the time, and men are paying child support. I know too many men who have joint custody, and the wife works, they work, and they having to pay child support. There are women who won't get married because they don't want to lose their alimony. They'll leave the guy alone, but they'll lose their alimony if they get married. The data's out there. Look it up. Google's your friend. Talk to Siri. Ask Alexa. Let them sisters know what's going on. You just ask them, and it'll come up into it. But yeah, really, the court system is not for men at all, especially against African American men when you walk in there. Because the thing is, the first thing everybody says, especially if you get a female judge, what did you do to her? Boom. It's just that way. And that's the problem that sucks. I didn't mean to go along with that, but you really need to touch on that again. The court system is making a lot of men think twice about getting married, because you can have, I'll say this, I'm going to end it with this. You can have a prenup. But if a woman wants to say he abused me or he did something and he didn't do it, that prenup goes out the window.
Yep.
Yeah. Very well said, man.
Let me add this real quick. I almost forgot.
Okay.
My divorce attorney literally stopped representing women, and she's a female, a black female. She literally stopped representing women when she saw a woman in court for the third time in 10 years getting a divorce and getting more alimony. Marinate on that.
Man. Whew, very well said, man. We're gonna go.
I was also thinking about that $31,000 a day thing. I should have married Mary. I've been good after 3-4 days. Like, you ain't got to pay no more, Mary. All right.
Well, here's go another comment right here from our sister Ville.
She said, as men, you have to be very intentional about the way you lead. If a man pays all the bills and provides such a lifestyle, he might have to continue it even without the woman. She's selfish, in my opinion. I was just typing this, Carl.
Okay. Okay.
I was saying it, yeah. Paying alimony and she cheated on you, but nobody's saying that the other guy is not a real man. Shaking my head. Yeah, you got the other man living off your money, right?
Wow, man. I mean, it's very deep, man, and this is why I be telling my brothers that the people that you date will usually be a reflection of you and where you're at mentally and socially, because I feel like when you're dating someone, and Eric may touch on this during the dating interview process, that person will either be an asset or a liability in your relationship. And that's why it's so important to stick to your principles and values, because if you don't have that, more than likely you may put yourself in a position with someone that may do some of these spiteful things to you. knowing that the court system backs our sisters up more than the brothers. Sadly, that is the truth, you know. So, listen, I do have a follow-up question to the panelists. This is such a great topic, man. We're going to do a part 2. I promise you that. My follow-up question, and I'll start with Baub. I mean, these stories that you guys share, which I appreciate. What advice will you tell the brothers out there to try to prevent them from ending up with a woman that may take them to the cleaners like that? I mean, I know we can't predict everything in life, but what's the best way to like not fall into those pitfalls with certain women?
Marry your friend.
Oh, okay.
You know, she has to be a friend before, during, and further through the relationship. She has to be your best friend. She has to be a friend.
Good response. Love that, man. Coming to my brother Floyd. I mean, what advice you have for the men that's currently dating, looking to find a bride-worthy woman? How can they avoid the wrong women out there? What advice would you give them to not end up in these situations?
I think first of all, you have to think with the right head and not the wrong one.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, I think a lot of times, you know, we find ourselves in a situation because we get caught up in the looks or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't, you know, and even with the looks, there's also some red flags, but we say, that's not really a red flag. That's a white, you know, that's maybe like a blue or a pink flag. You know, there's always signs, but if you are being led by the wrong head, then you know you're gonna later on down the line, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing. I think secondly, you really have to know where you're at in any particular stage in your life and what you need from any particular person at that particular stage. You know, what you may have needed at 25 is not what you need at 55.
Right?
You know, so a lot of young brothers, you know, and especially young brothers, get around some wise men. I think a lot of young men could avoid a lot of pitfalls by getting around some wise men that have gone through the fire. Hey, look, I went through that minefield, and look, I lost a couple of toes, I lost a leg, but no, I'm gonna go through the minefield anyways without no type of wisdom or guidance from older men. You save a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of court fees. You know, by finding a mentor that could walk you through those things. You know, I think this is a perfect platform right here. I think a lot of young men need to subscribe to this and listen to what we are saying as men. We've been there, so we're not going to guide you down the wrong road. You know, and as well, I'm here to learn from the brothers on the panel. There's some things that I still need to learn, and that's why I'm here. But I think a lot of young men, they make unnecessary mistakes.
Yeah, very well said, my brother. Before I come to my brother Eric, man, let me just flow in a couple of comments here.
From Latoya, she said, great discussion. And Naomi said, stop standing in front of your luxury car, 2-story home, flashing your cash and jewelry. That impresses girls, not a grown woman. Just my 2 cents.
Okay. Go ahead, girl. Whoever did that.
Okay, next one.
And then Denise said, all that glitter isn't gold. Get to know the woman, know what and how she responds in negative situations when life isn't going well. Perhaps this will give insight as to how she will respond in the event you do break up.
Wow, great advice.
Deneen, I like Deneen. Deneen came up a few times.
Appreciate that, sister.
Yes, Deneen.
Yes. So coming back to my brother Eric, you know, what advice you have for the young men out there to avoid these particular situations, probably further down the road?
Watch how she moves.
Gotcha.
Constantly talking about materialistic things, everything about materialistic. That's something to pay. If it's always about money, if it's always about, you know, what she buys, she get from you, then chances are that's not going to change. if you were to get married. There are certain women that gets accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and if you can't keep up with it, then that's going to be an issue. Understand? Marry her 7 times. And that, so my answer is just watch how she moves. And watch how she lives. That's what I would advise.
Very well said. Watch how she moves. I like that. And finally, my brother Carl, before we pivot to our Jerry Springer moment, what advice you have for the men that are looking for a wife out there, man? They really want a great, healthy relationship, but we don't want them to end up in these situations where the court system is just taken. You know, we don't want them in these situations. So what advice you have for the young men out there?
I agree with everything. Like I said, Eric said, Baub said, Floyd said, you know, just the different parts of each thing. It all adds up. But yeah, Eric said it best. I think, you know, watch how she moves, watch how she responds. Denise, what Denise said, you know, how does she handle negative situations?
Right.
And you have to have a conversation. You know, ask her, what are your values? You know, and again, people can lie. We get all that, but at some point in time, you get to see through it. Through that situation, but you got to ask those tough questions. You got to deal with things. That's why I always, you know, I tell people, you know, take when you start dating, you're courting, and you're dealing with somebody, take sex and money off the table and see what you got left in a relationship. Take that off the table the first 6 months to a year, and go Dutch on everything, and see that'll tell you a lot about a person. You know, and then if you're a man with vision, whether you're a young man, an older man, if you have a plan and a vision, you need to share your vision and plan with her to see if she can fit into your plan and vision. As you know, right. You can't, you know, as we talked about earlier, you can't leave without that plan and the vision. You know, does she fit it? You know, the things that you're talking about. You know, you got to ask the question. I'm going to tell you, if I had to do it all over again, I would ask questions about my ex's family. You know, what were their value system? Because that trickles down a lot of times. You know, what is your mom and your aunts? How do they feel about certain things? What is your dad? You know, what are they exposed to? And a lot of times we don't realize that family plays an important role, because if you're having issues and they turn back to their family and their family's anti your values, you're gonna have a problem. You know, so you gotta ask those questions. You've got to have tough conversations, you know, but again, just watch how she responds, watch how she acts, because again, it's going to change. You know, she may fake the funk in the beginning, but she can't maintain that mask. Eventually that mask is going to fall off.
Okay. And to my man in spirit, and listen, the piano list was dropping all nuts there to everyone. And to my unknown brother who's also on the piano list, who's been dropping jewels today, my man David, which we got to get you on the show. Let's see what he got to say.
He said the only advice I would give, there is no real strategy you can do pre-marriage to avoid a worst case scenario. If you are going to take the plunge into marriage, the only thing you can do is be at peace that you may face your worst nightmare as a result of this decision. Prepare your mind, body, and spirit to respond to the adversity with grace and God's assistance.
Okay, brother. Appreciate that, man. So now, listen, we're not going to take no commercial break. We're just going to go ahead and pivot to our Jerry Springer moment, where we summarize the show and give our final thoughts before we go into 2022. And I appreciate all these great kings coming onto the show today. So first, I am coming to my brother Eric. What are your final thoughts on today's show?
You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you modern, traditional. You gotta know who you are first. If you don't know who you are, you don't know who you chances are you attract the right, because you don't know who you are. You're just accepting anything that comes along. So I would say, you know, whether it's modern, just know who you are. Who you are as a person.
Very well said. Thank you so much for that wisdom, my brother. And I'm coming to my boy Floyd. He wanted to add something else. And also, if you can summarize the show, what are your thoughts, my brother?
I really like what I believe it was Carl that said, you know, when you take the sex off the table, you know, you get a chance to go deeper and really learn what the person is about. you know, you also learn, wait a minute, is this relationship, are we together because of this or because of this? I think, you know, a lot of times that does cloud your mind for making better decisions. I know for me, going into my relation, going into my with my fiance, that's taken off the table, and that's enabled us to really focus more on building the relationship that's going to lead into something that's going to sustain a long, long time. I think that's very important. To summarize the show, I like what Eric said. You know, you have to truly know what you want, what you deserve. Um, you have to, you know, I always like what Carl said. Carl said, "Do you got to heal?" You know, I'm only as good for someone as I am for myself. You know, so the more I value myself, the more I love myself, the more I appreciate myself, because these are the things that I'm gonna give to someone else. You know, I really love the show. I think just continue to do what do what you guys are doing. Continue to bring value to the show. Continue to bring the panels that you have on the show. I think it's incredible. So I'm honored to be a part of this.
Thank you, my brother. We're honored to have you, and thanks for sharing the nuggets with our people. And coming to my brother Baub, man. I mean, this is your first time on the show. Phenomenal show, by the way. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
Well, man, I love the show, man. I think it's great. I'm not a very religious person, but I love God, man. I'm a big fan of God, huge fan. They say do not lust, and the Bible says do not lust. A lot of people think that's a law. It's not a law. I look at it as as wisdom. Do not lust. Because what happens is a lot of these men end up with these women that they at one time lusted for. Gorgeous, fine, sexy. Oh my God, look at the way that dress fits, you know, and you end up with going back home and what's the reason of that? Just like the brother said, you take sex off the table. Take it off the table. And the bed and the sofa. And just take this, you know, put the sex aside for a while. Or, you know, what do you have? What do you have? So my message to everybody out there is, you know, just remember that, you know, ice cream at one time was milk. You know, that's all it is. And it's going to go back to milk eventually. And so just think about that. That's all I got to say.
Very well said, my brother. Appreciate you coming on board, man.
Yes.
And finally,
real quick, can I shout out my Free to Spit real quick? Free to Spit.
Please do, brother.
You know, Free to Spit, FREE, the number 2 spit, free to spit. We have a Facebook page. Go and like the page. Check the page out. We kick back off in February in New Haven. It's live. I mean, like, we actually have a venue in New Haven. I don't want people thinking you're going to go to the Free to Spit page to watch Free to Spit. We have a venue every first Friday of the month, except for January, which is my birthday month. Go and support that. You can hashtag my full name. I mean, you can hashtag that, but I was going to say you could, you know, cash app my full name if you want to support the venue. And do you guys have a cash app too, or DBDS don't have a cash app?
No, sir. No, sir.
So you guys don't get no funding, no support?
We'll talk behind the scenes on that, brother.
All right, because I was gonna say like no, because I was just gonna say, like, you know, support all these brothers up here that are doing their thing, man, and that's all I have to say to the people. Just support these brothers up here, and when the sisters were up here, the sisters that were up here, support them too, because you know what we do, we're doing it because we're trying to get on a higher level, and we're trying to really stretch our messages. So if you're out there, please support everybody who's part of this show tonight. Appreciate and the night before and so on. Thank you, brother. I love you, man.
Don't go anywhere, brother. Don't go anywhere. I appreciate that. The best way for people to support DBDS, because we do offer courses and coaching sessions, is for them to go to our website, which is dearbrothersdearsisters.com, and I'll put it right up there. So this is the site to show the support. You know, whether you want to pay for a course, whether you want to pay for a coaching session with myself or Carl, that's the best way to support what we do. So we appreciate that, and make sure you check out Free to Spit, as my brother stated. And finally, coming to my brother Carl, man, this was such a phenomenal show, as the brothers were just dropping nuggets. Baub, Eric, Floyd, everybody was just dropping nuggets. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
First, I appreciate you brothers coming on tonight. Man, phenomenal show. All of our audience, the comments, the questions. Definitely appreciate you guys. You know, I'm going to say this and then kind of tie it into the rest of the show. But, you know, we're coming to the end of the year. You know, a couple of weeks left. You know, figure out, you know, whatever you said, whatever goals you set in the beginning of the year that you didn't accomplish, figure out why you did not accomplish them, so that next year you can accomplish them. I'll say that. And as far as the show, you know, this goes for men and women. I mean, if you're really marriage minded, the time to do the work is before you start dating. The time to do the work is when you're single. You know, healing never stops. It's continual. You just get to a place though that you're over the hump and it feels less. Get to that place if you're not healed. If every time somebody posts something that's a trigger and you got a comment being combative or you can't hear other people's views or points, you don't need to be in a relationship seriously with those things, because you're only going to hurt yourself and hurt somebody else. But if you really desire marriage, and I know a lot of people speak about it and say, oh, marriage ain't for everybody. You know, for some people, I think that's just a cop out in case they never get married. For those that really want to do the work, find the time to do the work. Be what you want, what you're trying to attract. You know, you can't desire someone to be something that you're not even that, because you're not going to be able to keep them and maintain it because you're not what they are. You know, just real talk on that. You know, and brothers, you know, be smart. Be smart. You know, I think Naomi said, you know, that $7 sundress to get you in trouble. Don't. Every sundress is not a good. Every sundress is not a good dress. Trust me. You gotta look past. Again, attraction is the first thing that leads us to an individual, but character, values, and morals should weigh more after that initial attraction. So if she's a 9, but a 1 on attraction, but a 1 on everything else, walk away. She's a 5, 6, but she's a 10 on everything else. That's the one you want to marry, you know. And I think Baub said it best. You want to marry your friend, you know.
Like that.
I know some people don't like some people call it the friend zone. Sometimes going through the friend zone may work out. You know, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it may. You end up being friend zone, and then you realize, man, we are best friends, and this is really what we want, and it works out that way. So, you know, but keep hope alive, and don't let cuffing season and the holiday blues cause you to have a dependent next year. I'm gonna leave it on that.
Very well said. And just a couple of comments before we launch into next year. Last comments of our show for this entire year. Let's take a look here.
From Latoya, she said, "True friendship is built when sex and money are off the table."
Appreciate that, Latoya. Yes.
Yes.
And then Naomi said, "Thanks for the candid conversation. Needed. Appreciate
that."
And from my mom, she said, "Love the show. May 2022 bring you more success and growth. God bless."
Hi, Valerie. Hi, Mama.
Hey, listen, before I provide you with my final thoughts, I just want to thank this amazing panel for sharing their wisdom. So my thing is to my sisters out there, especially my brothers, let's make love and loyalty dope again. And my final thought will be short and sweet, in which I'll give credit to Shelley, because this was her words. She stated that a king with the wrong queen cannot protect the kingdom if his greatest threat is within the castle. All right. So shout out to Shelley for that. And once again, I just want to thank this amazing panel. Happy New Year and much love to the DBDS family.
Yes, I did feel like Willow Smith for a hot second. On the red table night, she was like, oh, that's all she did throughout the whole show. Oh,
All right, send me off, Carl. Send me off, brother.
Love you guys,
Take it
man.
away, Mel.
All right, love you too, man.
Take it away, Mel.
All right.
Melly Mel, man. We got to connect.